In the opening chapters of Sefer Shemot, of the book of Exodus, which we begin this Shabbat, there are a number of really beautifully ambiguous phrases that lend themselves to different interpretations. And in those differences, we really can derive for ourselves some lessons about the theme of the book, which of course is about redemption. The first is the Miladot Ivriot, the Hebrew midwives, or the midwives to the Hebrews, who stymie Paro's genocidal plan by refusing to kill the baby boys. And are they Hebrew midwives, or are they the midwives to the Hebrews? Rashi says these are Hebrew midwives, these are Jewish women, and he tells us who they are, what their Jewish names were, Yocheved and Miriam, characters we know about from elsewhere. And Ibn Ezra says, no, these are Egyptian midwives to the Hebrews. And so according to Ibn Ezra, these heroines, upon the whole hinge of history kind of tilts and shifts, were Egyptian women who did what was right and set this process of redemption in motion. And then later on in the second chapter, we encounter Moshe as a young man who grows up and goes out. The Torah tells us he goes out to his brothers. V'yar b'sivlo tam, sees their labor. V'yar ish mitzri, he saw an Egyptian man. Makeh ish ivri me'echav, and striking a Hebrew man me'echav from one of his brothers. So clearly, the ish ivri me'echav, the Hebrew man from his brothers, so whose brothers at the end of that verse is Moshe's Jewish brothers. By the end of that verse, Moshe is identifying clearly as a Hebrew, and he understands that the person being beaten in that pasuk is one of his brothers, a kinsman. But at the beginning of the verse, when he goes out with his brothers to see the labor of the Hebrew slaves, who are Moshe's brothers there? And Ibn Ezra says his brothers were his Egyptian brothers. Moshe, again, he grows up in the palace of the king. He identifies with Egyptian royalty. That's how he sees himself at the beginning of that verse. And in the middle of that verse, something that he sees, something that happens to him, causes an awakening. And by the end of the verse, his brothers means his Hebrew brothers, not his Egyptian brothers. So that's a transformation there. So both of these really beautiful, ambiguous phrases are really playing around, like, who are we, who are kin, who do we identify with, to whom do we deserve our solidarity? And the answer, of course, is we are solidarity, of course, to our blood kin, our Jewish brothers and sisters, people we share, parents, grandparents, our extended family. Of course, we also owe solidarity to any human being who needs it. And the Miadot Ivriot, whether they were Jewish heroines standing up for other Jews, or they were Egyptian women of goodwill, people of conscience who did what was right because it was right. And Moshe, his heroic moment, was it an Egyptian who kind of saw, no, these suffering Hebrews, they're the ones I have to cast my lot with, or was he casting his lot with his own people, his own flesh and blood? And both are admirable and both are necessary. And in that ambiguity, we see the way forward really towards Geulah, towards redemption. It means solidarity among Jews, and of course it also means human beings taking responsibility for other human beings, no matter who they may happen to be. Wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.